There won't be much dialogue along with this video, so this is just a bit of a forewarning. Since my guest, Felix, is deaf, dialogue was slim to begin with, but we did communicate using signs. If you want to know my thoughts along the way, hit the closed captioning button along the right hand side. I did learn quite a bit filming this catch and cook with Felix. I thought it was interesting how he made his fire lay, how he fished, how he prepared the fish, and how he seasoned it, along with all the other skills that are not normal to my neck of the woods. So I hope you enjoy this video as much as I did putting it together. It is fairly elaborate and detailed and features a lot of the things that you can find in the Dominican as far as wild foods and wild edibles. I will say that I did have problems with the catch part of this video, as the chip I was using was running into some problems, and so I wasn't able to recover the files. Nevertheless, Felix was able to catch a couple red snappers for our lunch, and I added a few wild fruit I was able to collect during my stay at the Dominican. So without me rambling on too much, let's get right into the video, and I hope you enjoy. Felix, snapper? 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 Oh, wait. Oh, no. Show me how. Show me how.
I can smell it.
You first. You first.
Later.
By itself, no good. But this, dude. It's on. Yeah. It does it. Yep. You'll see it. Go back.
There, there, there. Go. There, there. There. There.
No.
There. There, there. Come on.